Imagine if you could charge your car for just 5 minutes and it runs for 1,000 kilometers straight. It sounds like a science fiction movie, but in reality, this is no longer a dream. It can happen very soon. Toyota has recently made such an announcement that has shaken the entire auto industry: the solid-state battery. You must have heard this name many times, but now it is not limited to research papers and is going to become a reality. Until now, the biggest fear of driving an electric car was the long charging time and short range. But if a range of 1,000 kilometers and just 5 minutes of charging really becomes a reality, then the era of petrol and diesel cars will change. The big question is whether this technology is really coming to change our lives, or is it just another promise that will be forgotten with time. If this is true, then the foundations of Tesla, BYD, and other companies are going to be shaken. But if your car can run 1,000 kilometers and gets charged in just 5 to 10 minutes, then it will give the experience of filling petrol. People will adopt it more easily because they will neither have to worry about the charging time nor will they have to stop again and again. Let's make another interesting comparison. Suppose you live in India and want to go to Shimla from Delhi. The distance is about 350 kilometers. Today's electric cars will take you to Shimla but will need charging in between before coming back. Whereas with a battery with a range of 1,000 kilometers, you can not only go from Delhi to Shimla but can also return directly to Delhi, and even then your battery will have charge left. This facility also applies to road trips in America or Europe. Just 5 minutes of charging. The first question that comes to mind on hearing this is whether this is really possible. Because until now, the biggest problem with electric cars has been that it takes a lot of time to charge them. Even today's fastest fast charging technology takes 20 to 30 minutes to charge an electric car up to 80%. If the battery is bigger, the time can increase even more. So when Toyota and other companies say that the solid-state battery will be charged in just 5 minutes, what is the real secret behind it? First of all, let's understand the charging infrastructure. Most of the charging stations that exist today provide power ranging from 50 kilowatts to 150 kilowatts. But some networks like Tesla provide a charging facility of up to 250 kilowatts, and companies like Porsche provide charging facilities of up to 350 kilowatts. Now imagine if the battery has to be fully charged in 5 minutes, then the power of the charging station should be very high, 1,000 kilowatts, i.e., more than 1 megawatt. This means that in the coming time, charging stations will be connected to a very high power grid. Such technology is available right now, but its use on a large scale is difficult because, for this, the power infrastructure grid must be very strong. This is the reason why many experts believe that not only the battery but the entire charging network will have to be upgraded. Now let's come to the chemistry and design of the battery. Lithium-ion batteries contain liquid electrolyte, which heats up during fast charging and can prove to be dangerous for the battery. Whereas solid-state batteries contain solid electrolyte, which can move the ions very fast and safely. This means that the battery can withstand more current and can charge quickly. That is, it is possible to reduce the charging time due to this technology. But there is another big challenge here: heat management. When the battery charges so fast, a lot of heat is generated in it. If that heat is not controlled properly, the battery can get damaged or even pose a danger. This is the reason why research companies are working on new cooling technologies. It is believed that the effect of heat in solid-state batteries will not be as dangerous as in lithium-ion batteries because the chances of catching fire are very low. But even if charging for 5 minutes is to be done, then a very advanced cooling system will be needed for this, like liquid cooling, air cooling, or special materials that protect the battery from heating up. Now the question arises whether it is really safe. The reports and research that have come out so far suggest that solid-state batteries are much safer than lithium-ion. Because there is no liquid in it, the risk of leakage or short circuit is very low. Also, the possibility of fire is also greatly reduced. But the claim of 5 minutes charging has not yet been proven on a large scale. Fast charging has definitely been shown in lab tests. But when the same thing will be implemented on real vehicles and real roads, then it will be known how practical and safe it is. Talking about possibility, yes, it is possible in the future. Technology is slowly moving in this direction. 10 years ago, fast charging meant 1 hour, but now it has been reduced to 20 to 30 minutes. So it can be imagined that in the next 5 to 7 years, the battery and charging infrastructure will become so advanced that full charging can actually be done in 5 to 10 minutes. But not only the battery will play a role in this, the entire charging network and power grid will also have to be changed. 5-minute charging is not possible right now, but there is definitely a possibility. The technology of solid-state battery, better heat management, and high-power charging infrastructure can together make it a reality in the coming time. If this is successful, then the biggest fear of electric cars, charging time, will end forever. And on that day, people will leave petrol and diesel and move towards electric so fast that perhaps the entire automobile history will change. Let us now talk about those challenges and threats which are standing in the way of turning a revolutionary technology like solid-state battery into reality. The biggest challenge is the manufacturing cost. Lithium-ion batteries are not cheap today, but their cost is gradually decreasing due to mass production. The case of solid-state batteries is different. The materials used in it, such as solid electrolyte, are very expensive to make and process. This is the reason that if any company makes it on a commercial level now, then the cost of a battery will be so high that the car will be out of the reach of ordinary customers. Researchers believe that in the initial stage, its price can be 2 to 3 times more than a traditional battery. Now the question arises whether companies will be able to launch a car with such an expensive battery. Probably not. It is possible that initially, it will be used only in luxury and high-end vehicles. The second big problem is mass production. It is easy to make and test small cells in the lab. But when it comes to making millions of battery packs, the difficulties increase. Making solid-state batteries requires a very clean and controlled environment. The layers of material used in it are very thin, and they have to be assembled in a very precise manner. The slightest mistake can render the entire battery useless. This is the reason why no company has been able to start mass production of these yet. Companies like Toyota, Samsung, and QuantumScape are trying, but all admit that it may take a few more years to reach mass production. The third challenge is the journey from research to a practical car. Often new technology succeeds in the lab, but when it is tested in real conditions, many new problems arise. The same is the case with solid-state batteries. For example, it is not easy to maintain the movement of ions in a solid electrolyte for a long time. Repeated charging and discharging of the battery can cause cracks in its layers. These cracks reduce the performance of the battery and shorten its life. In lab tests, the battery works fine for a few hundred charging cycles, but vehicles have to remain reliable for thousands of cycles. This means that the battery should work in every season, every road, and every situation, whether it is the harsh cold of winter or the scorching sun of summer. Apart from this, charging infrastructure is also a big question. Even if Toyota makes a battery that can be charged in 5 minutes, will every country have such a powerful charging network? Currently, the situation is such that the number of charging stations in many countries is very low. If high-power charging machines like 1,000 kilowatts or 1 megawatt have to be installed, then the electricity grid will also have to be upgraded for this, and this task is not so easy. Another danger is risk and safety. Even though solid-state batteries are considered safer than lithium-ion, they can still face heat management problems when charged fast. If the battery gets too hot and the cooling system does not work properly, its life may be reduced. Although the risk of catching fire is low, it would be premature to say that the technology is completely safe. The future prospects are certainly interesting. It is likely that its cost will gradually decrease in the next 5 to 7 years and mass production can begin. Initially, it will be introduced in expensive electric cars and luxury models. But as production increases, its cost will decrease and it will reach the common people, just like it happened with mobile phones or LED TVs. So it is clear that the dream of solid-state batteries is very big. But there are many challenges and risks in the way of making it a reality. The journey from manufacturing cost, mass production, and research to bringing it to real cars will not be easy. But if these challenges are overcome, this technology will completely change the automobile industry in the coming times. Now, let's take a look at what kind of stir can be created in the global market if Toyota really brings a solid-state battery with a range of 1,000 kilometers and 5 minutes of charging. First of all, let's talk about Japan because it is the home of Toyota. Japan has always been ahead in terms of technology, but it lagged behind companies like Tesla and China in adopting electric vehicles. If Toyota brings this battery, it will be a matter of pride for Japan, and the government there will also support it rapidly. Japan has been under pressure for green energy and climate change for a long time. In such a situation, this step will become a new hope for it. Now let's come to America. America is currently the stronghold of Tesla, and Tesla is the biggest name in the EV market. If Toyota brings such an advanced battery, then it will be a direct competition with Tesla. The market there is very big, and people drive long distances. So the idea of a 1,000 kilometers range is very attractive. Although American customers are quick to adopt new technology, the question of infrastructure, i.e., charging stations, will also be a big one there. If the battery really gives 5 minutes of charging, then the pace of adoption of EV in America will increase even faster. Talking about Europe, there are the strictest rules regarding green energy. Many countries have planned to ban petrol and diesel cars by 2035. In such an environment, solid-state batteries can prove to be a boon for Europe. The governments there already give EV subsidies. And if people see that now vehicles can run 1,000 kilometers and get charged in just 5 minutes, then the shift to EV will be even faster. European auto companies like Volkswagen and Mercedes are also working on this. But if Toyota reaches the market first, the game can change. The situation is a little different in India. Here the EV market is still in its initial stages. Most people are moving towards scooters and small EV cars. The biggest problem here is the charging infrastructure. If a battery with a range of 1,000 kilometers is introduced, then half of this problem will be solved because people will not need to charge it again and again. On average, a car in India runs only 40 to 50 kilometers per day. So a range of 1,000 kilometers means that after charging once, you can remain worry-free for 2 to 3 weeks. This is what will attract people more to buy EV. This means that carbon emissions can fall drastically. Governments around the world will put more emphasis on adopting such technology to meet their carbon targets.